Today's work order looks dead simple. Hi, I'm Dr. Gray Parrot, and welcome to the Animal Truth Lab. Today, a building inspection order landed on my desk, sending me out to a damp forest in eastern Australia to sign off on a house. The builder of this house is a medium-sized songbird called the Satin Bowerbird, scientific name Ptilonorhynchus violaceus. And its name already gives away half of who it is. Bowerbird, because the males of this species behave like little gardeners, gathering, arranging, and fussing over a whole pile of decorations until their patch of ground looks just so. Satin, because a grown male is covered head to tail in a glossy, satin-sheened blue-black coat. Even the violaceus in its scientific name means violet, purple. And in a minute you'll see it. From its feathers, to its eyes, to its collection, this bird simply cannot get away from blue and purple. All right, checklist in hand, I walk into the forest. The order says residence, so I've come ready to check whether the roof holds and whether the bedrooms are big enough. And the second I reach the site, I stop dead. On the ground, a platform of twigs laid down neat and flat. On top of it, built from thin sticks set one beside the other, two parallel walls rise up, and between those two walls runs a narrow little corridor. This is the thing it built. Scientists call it an avenue bower. And around the mouth of that corridor, the ground is strewn with all sorts of little objects. So I start working down my checklist. Roof? No roof. Bedroom? No bedroom, just a corridor with a draft whistling through it. Eggs? Not one. Chicks? Not one. Resident? I turn the whole place over and there is no bird living in here at all. Hey, hold on. How is this a house? Okay, here's the big one. The single biggest truth about this bower is this. It is not a nest and it is not a home. It isn't meant for anyone to live in. It holds no eggs, it raises no chicks. It's a courtship stage, built by the male with his own beak, and it exists for exactly one purpose, to be walked through by a female and graded by a female. Which means the residential inspection form in my hand was the wrong form from the very start. This isn't a house, it's an art gallery. So where's the real home? The real home is over on the tree next door. The female flies off to a different tree, usually higher up in the canopy, and there she builds a plain, shallow, cup-shaped nest out of twigs. Building the nest, laying the eggs, sitting on them, raising the young, every last bit of it she does alone. And the male? The male keeps several mates, and all he handles is building the bower, performing, and mating. Home life, childcare, none of it is his problem. So do you see it now? This no resident found structure and the bird's actual home are two completely separate places. In the female's nest, you'll usually find 2 eggs, sometimes 1, sometimes 3. She sits on them for about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks after that, the chicks are ready to leave the nest, and even once they've left, they lean on their mother for roughly another 2 months. And here's a little twist. The babies in that nest don't eat the same food as their parents. They eat mostly insects, beetles, grasshoppers, cicadas, because a growing body needs a huge amount of protein. So the first thing I do is take that residential inspection form, find the category box, and cross out the word residence. This building needs a different form altogether, an art gallery review form. And on an art gallery review, the very first thing you check isn't whether the walls are sturdy, it's color.
Take a guess. What color is this architect so obsessed with? Obsessed enough to pick fights with the neighbors over it? It's blue. That whole spread of little objects at the mouth of the corridor is mostly blue. Blue feathers, blue flowers, blue berries. Here and there you'll spot a brown snail shell, but overall the theme is blue. And the males that live out on the edges of our cities take it even further. They'll haul home blue plastic bottle caps, blue straws, blue clothes pegs. His devotion to blue is so total, he'll accept industrial trash without blinking. And the older and more mature the male, the higher the proportion of blue in his collection. He uses a pair of feet built for gripping branches to hop around the platform, setting each treasure down in exactly the spot he wants. So why blue of all colors? There's a clever logic here. Blue out in nature is genuinely rare and hard to come by. And worse, a blue treasure is hard to hold on to, because the moment you step away, the male next door will break in and make off with your prettiest blue ornament, and he might just flatten your whole bower while he's at it. You rob me today, I wreck yours tomorrow. Every last bower along a single creek is standing only because it has weathered this endless back and forth of raiding and ruin. So think about what that means. A bower that is blue and symmetrical and richly stocked and still standing after all of that. It tells you the male who owns it is a skilled forager, a sharp mind, and strong enough to defend his turf. So researchers believe this whole wall of blue is really a report card that's very, very hard to fake. He can't talk himself up. All he can do is prove himself with a bower that genuinely holds together. Scientists have even tested this by hand. Quietly take a few ornaments away from a bower or knock its walls a little crooked, and that bower owner's mating chances drop plainly and measurably, which tells you the females really are grading, and the grade is written all over the building.
And we're not done, because this artist does something rarer still. He paints his walls. He takes plant matter, chews it into a pulp, mixes in his own saliva, sometimes a little charcoal or fruit juice too, and then, with his beak, dab by dab, he works this homemade paint onto the inner walls of the bower, at about chest height, in a broad band. You heard me right, a bird mixing his own paint, painting his own wall. And here's the truly impressive part. Sometimes he'll pick up a small scrap of bark or a leaf and use it as a brush to spread the paint around. That is extraordinarily rare among birds. He is one of the very few birds that use tools at all. So is that paint job only there to look pretty? Not only. Scientists ran an experiment. They wiped the paint off the wall, and the number of females coming to visit dropped. And they noticed something. The visiting females lean right in and taste the paint with their beaks. In other words, this coat of paint isn't just a color. It's a chemical love letter written in scent and flavor. That band on the wall is a message left there for the audience to taste. Speaking of blue, let me clear up something a lot of people get wrong. That satin blue coat of his, is it dyed with some blue pigment? No. Believe it or not, there is no blue pigment anywhere on his body. His blue is carved, not colored. The outermost layer of every one of his feathers is a thin, transparent film of keratin sitting on top of black melanin underneath. How thin is that transparent film? Only about a few hundredths of the width of a single hair. Light comes in, bounces around inside that film, the reflections stack on top of one another, and out of that, blue-violet is folded into being. It's the exact same trick as the surface of a soap bubble or the rainbow shimmer on the back of a CD, which is why his blue never fades and why it shifts and flickers as the angle changes. The very blue he's so obsessed with, it turns out, he's already wearing, a coat of blue woven out of pure physics.
Oh, I keep saying the male, so you might be wondering, what does the female look like? The female is actually about the same size as the male, the same 27 to 33 centimeters long, the same couple hundred grams, roughly a big apple with a little extra. The real difference is the color. She's olive green all over, with a patch of dark scalloped markings across her belly. And these green birds all get lumped together under one nickname, the green birds. The grown male, meanwhile, on top of that satin blue coat, has a striking pair of violet blue eyes and a pale bluish-white beak. And that beak is the multi-tool he does everything with: eating, hauling ornaments, painting walls, handling his tools. Okay, so going by all that, the green ones are the females, right? Wait, let me go back and double-check my notes. No, there's a trap here.
Green does not necessarily mean female, because the male satin bowerbird doesn't just turn blue the moment he grows up. He goes through a very peculiar process called delayed plumage maturation. For a good long stretch, a young male looks exactly like a female, green. It's around his 5th year that the first blue-black feathers start pushing through, and not until around his 7th year is he fully dressed in that satin blue. Do the math. That's roughly the span from the day you start kindergarten all the way to nearly finishing elementary school before he's got the full blue grown-up outfit on. And he does not spend those green years idle. While everyone mistakes him for a female, he's quietly practicing building bowers, practicing his show, and the bowers he builds get better and better as the years of experience stack up. In other words, this craft, building the gallery, staging the exhibition, is not something he's born knowing all in one go. It's learned. He's an apprentice, honing his skill over years. All right, the gallery's built, the walls are painted, the blue collection is fully stocked, and opening day has arrived. The female flies in and steps into the corridor, and the male, at the mouth of the corridor, launches into his performance, leaping, shivering his wings, throwing out a buzzing hum and strange, almost mechanical noises, even mimicking the calls of other birds, and all the while often gripping a blue treasure in his beak and waving it about. Now, you'd assume this is a set routine, a fixed sequence of dance steps he's drilled until it's identical every single time. Here's the most surprising truth of all. No. This performer, the entire time he's performing, is locked on to his audience. He reads the female's reactions and adjusts his intensity on the fly. Because if he goes too hard, too forcefully, he can startle her, and a startled female may just fly off. And the male who knows to pull his intensity back the instant the female shows a flicker of unease, his odds of a successful mating are plainly higher. How did scientists prove that? They pulled off a genuinely cool trick. A mechanical engineering professor at the University of Maryland teamed up with biologists and built a moving robot female. Real bird skin on the outside, a metal skeleton on the inside, and a little computer for a brain. They set this robot female down inside a wild bower and had her deliberately produce all sorts of reactions, purely to test whether the male would read her cues. And it proved out. Yes, the males who know how to hold back, who don't bulldoze their audience into fleeing, are the ones who win. And on top of that, the audience he has to handle isn't all one type. Research found that younger females are more easily startled by a too forceful display, and they weigh the quality of the bower itself more heavily. Older, more experienced females, on the other hand, actually appreciate a stronger performance. So this performer has to be sharp enough to read the room. What kind of audience is standing in front of me today? Speaking of sharp, scientists have actually put its intelligence to the test. They exploited another of its odd quirks. It absolutely despises the color red. Just place something red on its bower and it will scramble to move it away or cover it up. So scientists used that. They designed a puzzle, pinning the red object down in place to see whether the bird could work out a solution. And what they found was this. The better a male was at solving the puzzle, the sharper his mind, the more successful he was at mating too. Its love of blue and hatred of red, this color bias, accidentally became a ruler scientists could use to measure its intelligence. Though later research is careful to remind us that the link between being clever and being popular is more tangled than you'd think. It's not a single straight line. Let me tell you a few more things about it. It's not a predator. It lives mostly on fruit, with a little foliage and a few insects on the side. And those blue treasures are for showing off, not for eating. And as it goes around eating fruit, it's quietly scattering seeds and helping the plants spread. It's also remarkably long-lived. In the wild, about 8 or 9 years, but among individuals fitted with tracking bands, some have reached 25, 26 years old, which, among all the songbirds ever recorded this way, puts it near the very top for longevity. And here's a nice little detail about how they split up. During breeding season, the mature blue males are mostly loners, each one guarding his own bower, while those green birds, the females and the young males, tend to move around in flocks.
Oh, and I have to hand a bit of credit back to somebody else. You may have heard a truly amazing claim that there's a bowerbird that lines up the objects in its court by size to create an optical illusion, a forced perspective that fools the female's eye. That is real, but the star of that story is not today's bird. That's the work of a distant cousin living up in northern Australia called the great bowerbird, a completely different species. Our satin bowerbird does not run that illusion trick. His way of working his audience is the blue, the wall painting, the symmetry, the collection, plus carefully choosing where to build his bower and at what angle, so he can control the setting the female views it in. This big bowerbird family each have their own signature move. Some build the avenue type, some build something more like a maypole, and some don't build at all. Every one of them an architect with a wildly different style. So, how did I end up filing this inspection of mine? I put the whole residential inspection form away, and in the category box, I changed residence to 2 different words, Courtship Theater. This building meets not a single standard for a house, and yet every item on it meets the standard for a work of art. Some scientists have even floated an idea that birds like the bowerbird seem to have gradually shifted the whole burden of showing off of the feathers on their own bodies and out onto that structure they build outside themselves. What it makes out there in the world isn't a shelter from wind and rain. It's a thing that exists purely to be seen. And here's the fun part. English eventually coined a word from it, bowerbird, used for a person who loves to collect and hoard pretty little things. This bird's personality seeped right into our own human language. A bird that spends years learning a craft, mixes his own paint, builds his own gallery, and knows how to read the mood of his audience. He wins the female over not because of how well he lives, and not because of how strong he is. It's because he's willing to spend years learning a craft and to build with his own beak a work that exists for nothing but to be admired. If that doesn't count as art, then what does? I'm Dr. Gray Parrot. See you next time. Bye. Next time, the Animal Truth Lab meets the oldest farmers alive. So tiny you'd never notice. Picture millions of little figures marching in a line, each holding a green leaf bigger than its body, like a kid carrying a car. The strange part? They don't eat those leaves. They carry them into a city under your feet and grow a secret crop, farming long before humans did. What on earth is it? Want the answer? Hit like, subscribe so you don't miss it, and share with your best friend. I'm Dr. Gray Parrot. Thanks for coming to the Animal Truth Lab. See you next time. Bye-bye.